Greetings all and thanks for joining me today. I'll get right into this topic, which I'm excited to discuss. First, I'm going to set the stage by discussing both the Holy Trinity and the Unholy Trinity. Then I'm going to discuss why Satan has not yet been kicked out of heaven as many believe. Next, I'm going to discuss what the description of the beast actually means. And finally, I'm going to tie it all together to paint a clear picture of the Unholy Trinity. So let's jump in. The Holy Trinity is God the Father, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. Satan loves imitation to mock and deceive. While a Holy Trinity is characterized by infinite truth, love, and goodness, the Unholy Trinity portrays the diametrically opposite traits of deception, hatred, and unadulterated evil. Revelation 12 and 13 describe the parts of the Unholy Trinity: the dragon, the Antichrist, and the false prophet, each mimicking their opposite in their role. Satan would do nothing less than hold the role of God the Father, the Antichrist taking the role of Jesus, and the false prophet takes the role of the Holy Spirit. Revelation chapter 12 verses 7 through 9 say this: Now war arose in heaven, Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. And the dragon and his angels fought back, but he was defeated, and there was no longer any place for them in heaven. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. At some point in the coming future, Satan will be kicked out of heaven and will be bound to earth until he is thrown into the lake of fire. When this happens, he will assume the role of the head of the false trinity. Then he will quickly gather his other two unholy participants. Next comes Revelation 13 verse 1 and 2. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard. Its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power and his throne and great authority. This is the Antichrist rising up from among the sea of people to which Satan gives all of his power and authority. Then in Revelation 13 verses 11 to 14 we see the rise of the false prophet. Then I saw another beast rising out of the earth. It had 2 horns like a lamb, and it spoke like a dragon. It exercises all the authority of the first beast in its presence, and makes the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose mortal wound was healed. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven to earth in front of people, and by the signs that it is allowed to work in the presence of the beast it deceives those who dwell on earth, telling them to make an image for the beast. There exists among many churches, denominations, and faiths this idea that even before the foundation of the world, Satan was removed from heaven for his rebellion, and with him went a third of the angels. I want to make this point very clear. There is not a single verse in the entire Bible that states Satan has already been evicted from heaven. In fact, the opposite is supported. Take a look at Revelation 7 verse 10. Immediately after Satan is evicted, this is said, And I heard a loud voice in heaven saying, Now the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ have come, for the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, who accuses them day and night before our God. Satan, who is the accuser, is thrown out, and heaven celebrates, saying that the one who accuses the brothers day and night before God is gone. Satan, as we know, has been our adversary and our accuser, always pointing the finger at humans, and he's finally removed from heaven. If he were removed from heaven before the world was created, how then would he have been our accuser? And why then would heaven have been celebrating in this way? John also writes, as he's given a vision of what is to come. Revelation 1 verse 19, the angel tells John, The things that you have seen, those that are and those that are to take place after this. These are future events from John's day. He writes, Now the salvation and the power, as though Satan was not kicked out until the now that John sees in the future. Revelation 12 verse 12 says, But woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great wrath, because he knows that his time is short. We can clearly see Satan is kicked out of heaven at a future time. Heaven rejoices, but a warning is given to those on earth because Satan knows his time is short after being evicted. All right, now on to the description of the dragon. Revelation 12 verse 3. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great red dragon, with 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his heads 7 diadems. The color red indicates the dragon's vicious and homicidal personality. The seven heads symbolize seven evil kingdoms that Satan has empowered and used throughout history to attempt to prevent God's ultimate plan from coming to fruition. At the time of John writing this down, five kingdoms have already existed. One currently exists, and another has yet to arrive, but when it does, it will only be here for a short time. We read this in Revelation 17, verse 10. There are also seven kings, five of whom have fallen. One is, and the other has not yet come. And when he does come, he must remain only a little while. The five that already had come are Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. The one that existed when John was alive was Rome. All these kingdoms severely oppressed and persecuted the Hebrews, killing many of them. Satan's intent was to prevent the birth of Christ. Under Roman rule, King Herod murdered Hebrew babies around the time of Christ's birth, and Pontius Pilate ultimately authorized the crucifixion of Jesus. The final kingdom, which is yet to come, will be more fierce and cruel than the others, will be the final world kingdom that the Antichrist forms during the end times. The 10 horns represent 10 countries, which will make up the final beast kingdom. Now let's discuss the beast as described by John. And I saw a beast rising out of the sea, with 10 horns and 7 heads, with 10 diadems on its horns and blasphemous names on its heads. And the beast that I saw was like a leopard, its feet were like a bear's, and its mouth was like a lion's mouth. And to it the dragon gave his power, and his throne and great authority. The sea represents many people, and so the beast comes out of the people. The 10 horns represent 10 initial countries that make up the empire, but 3 of the 10 will be removed and absorbed into the beast empire directly, no longer having any autonomy as nations, leaving only 7 nations remaining. This we read about in Daniel chapter 7, verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another horn, a little one, before which 3 of the first horns were plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. The number 10 also indicates completion or totality. In other words, it's suggestive of a one-world government. This government will be blasphemous, denying the true God, which aligns with the Antichrist declaring himself God halfway through the final week of Daniel. The beast is also said to have received a mortal wound, and there are 2 primary understandings of this. I want to discuss both as having merit. The first option is that the Antichrist is mortally wounded at some point during the 7 years, but is healed, and the whole world marvels after the beast because of this. The second option is that the beast is a kingdom that once existed, was destroyed, and will be remade. This is the popular theory among those who hold to the revived Roman Empire being the final beast. But another option is the Ottoman Empire, which was purely an Islamic caliphate that was destroyed during the First World War. For nearly all of the empire's existence, these non-Muslim subjects endured systematic discrimination, and at times, outright persecution. This theory actually aligns with the Unholy Trinity very well, and it's something I'll explore in another video. The theory also aligns with where the Antichrist may arise from. I talk about this in my video which discusses the Antichrist. So to wrap this up and to bring it all together, let's quickly recap. Satan will be removed from heaven. Then he forms his unholy trinity of himself, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. The Antichrist rises and creates an impossibly strong empire, and he's supported by the false prophet who does all manner of signs and wonders, including calling down fire from heaven. This false trinity will persecute the saints and kill them for up to 42 months, which again aligns with a potential revived Ottoman Empire as they did the same to non-Muslims. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing. Don't forget to like this video. If you have any questions, or if there is a topic you would like me to discuss, just let me know in the comments. God bless.